Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Again, very fluid out here as we wait for people to come up for an interview. And it looks like we got Fergie Jenkins. Mike, we're going to talk to Fergie Jenkins, and then we'll get you on. Fergie before you. I know.
He's Mr. Ballpark.
What kind of world am I living in here?
There's Fergie. I got to go grab somebody else. So.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. Okay, so again, very fluid situation here as we are broadcasting live. So we're going to get Fergie Jenkins. Mr. Jenkins, hey, pleasure to meet you. We got a headset right over here.
Name?
My name is Jeff.
Jeff? Good enough.
Yes.
Which one? 2 J's.
Right there.
This one there?
Yeah.
Jeff, John, and Fergie.
Very cool.
That pea shooter on her.
There. If you need me to turn your headphones up or down, please just let me know.
Sounds good.
That sounds good. Okay, we are actually live on the air right now. So we are on AM 1490 WDBQ, and so pleased to announce that we are joined on the set by Fergie Jenkins. Mr. Jenkins, it is an honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's good being here.
First time to Field of Dreams?
No, fourth time.
Fourth time to Field of Dreams.
Yeah, I was here when they actually did it the year after the movie with Mudcat Grant. They had a special day coming out here with a bunch of ex-players, and we played against the Ghosts. I pitched 2 innings, and then I came back with Bob Gibson and Brock and a bunch of guys, Pepitone and Reggie Jackson. You know, Reggie was acting a fool. Yeah. But we had fun. We played.
No, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Hey, I got to ask, because you're a Canadian-born Major League Baseball player. How many other Canadians were playing in the bigs in the 60s when you came up?
Well, a couple of French guys that were with Atlanta.
Okay.
Top of my head, I don't know their names. And then we had Terry Poole with Houston. But not a lot of Canadians that were playing at the time. I think maybe within 10 years after that, Larry Walker came on the scene.
Yeah.
And he signed with Montreal.
There's a pretty good one playing tonight at first base.
Joey Votto, yeah. I coached him in the Futures game.
Did you really?
2006 in Pittsburgh.
Neat.
Joey Votto. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
You mentioned Terry. In the minor leagues for a little bit.
Wow.
That's neat. That's neat. Do you have a relationship with Joey Votto at all beyond that?
Just to talk to him.
Yeah.
That's about it. I've seen him at the All-Star game in L.A.
No.
But other than that, a lot older. So,
who did you look up to when you were a kid growing up in the Toronto or in the Ontario area? Who did you look up to from a baseball player perspective?
well, my dad played in the Negro League well before Jackie Robinson. He won a couple of championships in the 30s, and they had a called the Chatham Colored all fellas from Windsor, Chatham, and they played in the OBA. They won a couple of championships, and that's when my mom and my dad met in 1938, 40, and I was born in 42.
Yeah, that's so cool. John?
You know, back in the day when you played in your days with the Cubs, I mean, you played in the National League East, and there was less teams. There was no interleague play. You had a chance of pairing up head-to-head with a lot of good starters. I mean, in the National League East, there was Gibson, and there was Seaver, and Kuzman, and Carlton. Did you look ahead at the schedule to see where you're going to match up potentially?
Oh, yeah. Cincinnati had Maloney, Purdy. I think a year or maybe 5 years where it was the year of the pitcher.
Yeah.
Guys are winning 20 games.
Yep.
That was what was all about. Bill Negro, myself, Stephen Gibson, Marichal. There was I think at one time there was 8 of us won 20 games one year. It could have been 67, 68. And then they lowered them out, and then we still had 20-game winners. Seaver, myself, and Carlton. Maybe Don Sutton.
Mm-hmm.
But and then it was just something that was going to happen because the pitching got better. Not saying that the hitting was bad, but the pitching got. A lot of us we matured.
Yeah.
That was my 4th year in the big leagues, and they had Drysdale. He'd retired, and so did Koufax. But there were certain guys. Negro had the good knuckleball, but there was so many good pitching on teams. Because there's only 9 pitchers on the staff.
Yeah.
Right.
So guys had a chance to pitch as a starter every 4th day. You know, we had Kenny Holtzman, Bill Hands. Bill Hands won 20 games one year. I think it was 1968, 69. But the nice thing about it is the pitching really was secure. And when you look at it, a lot of complete ball games, a lot of games that were under control of the pitcher, the games were 2 hours.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and it's interesting that you say that because now there's this concerted effort with Major League Baseball, as we were talking with Lee Smith about before you jumped on with us, about the pitch clocks in the minors, which they're thinking about bringing to the majors, and just, getting the ball out of the pitcher's hand quicker. What are your thoughts on that? And maybe also, what are your thoughts on the idea that Major League Baseball player managers, to me, when I watch the Twins, who's my favorite team, it seems like their staff already has in their head how many pitches they're going to let a pitcher go before letting the game feel itself out.
Well, 4 or 5 years ago, you could throw 100 pitches and stay in the game for a while.
Yeah.
Now it's 65 to 80.
Yeah.
You're out of the game, and it could be 4 innings.
Yeah.
So you don't win a ball game.
Yeah.
You're just a pitcher that went out there and tried to hold the other team to fewer runs, and then somebody else can take over. But I'm hoping that something will change. I mean, the game should be controlled by the pitcher. If you and the catcher know the starting lineup, the signs, pitch. I mean, Gibson and I and Marichal, Seaver, we threw games under 2 hours a lot of times.
Yeah.
But, I'm not sure if that's the way to go or not, because there's a lot of controversy about, 20 seconds between each pitch. And you only get 2 minutes after the third out to run on the field to get your warm-ups in and then start that inning. So, I mean, it's something that is controlled by one individual, and that's the pitcher.
Let me ask you something, because I know Bob Gibson, whose name you just mentioned a little bit ago, he had some pretty strong feelings about free agency. And you played before free agency came around in 1976. Did you feel kind of a shift in mentality or mindset as far as that team bonding when free agency started, or was it really not impacted too greatly?
Well, I played 8 years with Ron Santo, 8 years with Billy Williams, 4 years with Ernie Banks, Becker, Kessinger, 8 to 5 years. I just think that free agency gives a player an opportunity to go to another team if he wants. So that's his desirability to jump to another team.
Right.
And it's all about the money, too. So the free agent year, sure, they put big numbers up because they want a decent salary. The agents work. And I didn't have an agent for years.
Oh, really?
I was the first Cub to have an agent. 1971, the year I won the Cy Young.
Okay. Neat.
But that's something that the game has changed a lot. But free agency, it's good. It's here to stay.
Yeah. Do you have any affiliation with the Rangers organization anymore?
I do personal appearances for them from time to time, but I work for the Cubs.
Yeah, that's neat.
So speaking of the Rangers, when you went to the Rangers, baseball was fairly new in northern Texas at the time, and you came from a team, the Cubs, where they've been playing in Wrigley Field for 80 years or better. What's the difference between those two as far as like the crowd and the knowledge of the game and things like that?
Well, my career in Chicago was all-day baseball.
Yeah.
You go to Texas, you play night games, and it's still 100 degrees out. And I had a flamboyant manager, Billy Martin.
Yeah.
So, we brought the crowds back because I think we had Jim Bibby, who the year before had pitched a no-hitter, and we'd made a lot of changes for Alex Johnson, Cesar Tovar. Jeff Burrows was MVP that following year. But what happens is we had a young staff. Very young. And then we had a young catcher in Jim Sundberg. We had a young first baseman in Hargrove. We just had a younger team. And Billy was tutoring guys that, hey, we can beat Oakland, which we did. We beat them 9 out of 12 times.
That's awesome.
So, but the nice thing about it is that when Ted Williams had the ball club as the manager, I'm not sure if the people really knew baseball. The history of the game. Ted Williams, the best hitter ever, left-handed hitter, hitting well over 400. But the nice thing about it is they came to the ballpark regardless. That was Old Turnpike Stadium. It was super hot.
Yeah.
Super hot sometimes. And Gaylord and I pitched a couple of double hitters together, and it was 105. It was for him. For me, 105. For him, 102. So it didn't make a difference. It didn't change.
Cooled off a whole 3 degrees.
Oh, man, no joke. I mean, it was fun to play. But baseball was fun in Texas. I enjoyed it there.
Yeah.
Is there a player playing today that reminds you of yourself, or who do you think maybe most closely resembles Fergie Jenkins playing today?
Not many.
Not many. Not many.
I don't want to name anybody.
Yeah.
But, nobody throws complete ball games anymore.
No.
Nobody pitches. I pitched 12 innings twice.
Yeah.
Because that's what Leo wanted. He wanted you in the game, you stayed. Guys throw 7 innings, your day's done. I always look forward to seeing that hitter again, maybe for the 3rd time, maybe the 4th time, and it's me and him. Getting him out, trying to make that hitter hit a ground ball or maybe an easy fly ball or something like that, and not giving up that run or 2 runs that's either going to tie the game or beat you in the 8th or 9th inning. That's what pitching was all about.
Now you talked about going extra innings. There was a memorable game opening day, I think it was in '71. You and Gibson, you went 10 innings to beat them.
Yeah, Billy Williams hit a home run off him in the 10th.
Yeah, pretty exciting.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what baseball, I think, was the number 1 starter against the other number 1 starter.
Yeah.
I got Marichal a lot. I got Gaylord Perry. I got Seaver.
Yeah.
I got Maloney. There was a lot of different battles that you're going to have to face. You're going to have to face the best on that team and give up few runs.
Absolutely.
Give up few runs.
Couple of questions to close, and then we'll let you go. Again, Fergie Jenkins, Hall of Fame pitcher, joining us here at the Field of Dreams on AM 1490 WDBQ. Toughest hitter you ever faced? I know that's a loaded question because you faced a lot of great ones, but if you had to, maybe not even the toughest, but who's on that Mount Rushmore of hitters?
Oh, there's several.
I know.
Well, number 1 is probably Roberto Clemente, because they were in that same division with us.
Yep.
So I had to start maybe 5-6 times against Pittsburgh. And on the West Coast, Willie McCovey.
Yep.
And then if you in the American League, Rod Carew,
Yeah.
K-Line,
Yep.
Killer Brew.
That's awesome.
I could go on forever. The guys that were tough to get
I'm
out.
a Twins fan, so you're speaking my language when you mention those 2 names.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
this spring you got at Wrigley Field a statue presented of Fergie Jenkins. Pretty neat.
I'm pretty amazed. I was pretty humbled to see. I seen it in plastic or clay, and then I seen it again finished. It does look like me. Because a lot of these statues, they do portraits of people. They really don't look like you.
No.
But they took the photo from the Sports Illustrated cover in 1971, the year I pitched some Game of the Weeks, and they used that particular because they wanted to see the Cub logo and the hat, and I didn't have my glove in front of it, but and I was following through, and I was throwing a changeup to whoever the hitter was, but they got it right.
What do you see the future looking like for the Chicago Cubs? What players do you see in this organization that you're excited to watch here over the next several years?
They got a lot of young players. They got some guys they brought up from Double A. And I just seen him the other day. Morale's a pretty good hitter. And, Happ is a veteran now.
Yeah.
He's had 3 or 4 years.
It's crazy to think that, but yeah.
And then they kept Wilson Contreras, a smart catcher, great arm, great physical individual, and I think he's going to help that young pitching staff when they put it all together. And they had, I'm trying to think, Keenan Thompson threw pretty good. He won his 9th game when I was there. He pitched 6 innings. He's up 5 hits.
So you think that Contreras is with the team long term?
I'm hoping it will be. I'm hoping they give him a good contract, keep him there because he's a smart catcher. Why bring a catcher in that doesn't know your pitching staff?
Agreed.
And these young guys can pitch.
Fair enough. Fergie Jenkins, Hall of Fame pitcher. It has been an absolute honor,
Pleasure.
sir. I appreciate it.
Pleasure, guys.
Fergie, thank you.
All right. What a guest. Again, want to thank Fergie, also Lee Smith, who came before him. And we may still yet have a couple of other Cubs Hall of Famers joining us here throughout the afternoon. What I want to do right now is take a short break, and then we are going to come back.
Thank you again.
And we're going to be chatting with Mr. Ballpark, who has at the very least, a very unique perspective on Major League Baseball stadiums, and maybe, in fact, is the only person who has experienced a Major League Baseball game in every ballpark, including Tokyo, Japan. So stick around. We're going to be chatting with Mr. Ballpark here shortly. We are broadcasting live at the Field of Dreams. Jon Atkinson and Jeff Robb on AM 1490 WDBQ.